What? Welcome everyone to Education Today. I'm your host, Scott Noons, and I'm joined by my lovely guest, Rae Hughart. So glad to have her. She's a CMO over at Teach Better Teen, two-time author, amazing educator, even better friend, and podcaster like myself. Absolutely love her work with podcasting and what she does with the Teach Better team. Let's welcome Rae Hughart. You can follow her on Twitter at Rae Hughart. Welcome, Rae. How's it going?
It's so good. I'm so glad that we get to do this today. I needed like a good pump up. I feel like spending time with you is going to bring all the energy.
COVID and everything. It was going to be a long shot because we had a baby like right before the Teach Better conference was going to happen, but COVID hit and we have to wait. But this is great, right? I've seen you on a bunch of shows. Today's the 22nd. Correct me if I'm wrong. In 2 days, you guys are doing a 12-hour stint. Am I correct?
We are. We have another 12-hour live happening with the Teach Better team where, guys, we are literally live for 12 hours straight. And we are just programming all professional development with over 70 educators are going to come and talk shop. It's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing. I saw everyone you have lined up. It's like too many to even go through. So definitely everyone that's listening, be sure to check that out on their website. Hey, we got Dave in the house. What's up, Dave?
Yeah, guys, remember the 12 hours completely live. We're just streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So it's not like anything you have to register for. It's not a Zoom link. Like pop on your favorite social media channel and comment just like Dave just did. Love it.
Yeah. Great. I know I'm going to be doing it on and off throughout the day. So I'm super excited. I'll have my kiddos. So we will see how that goes.
We will keep it PG-13. I promise. It'll be good.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'll tell you what, for those out there, I'm just letting you know the jump from like 3 to 4 kids is fairly significant. I had no idea. The other jumps going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, easy. In fact, it was even easier. It was like, hey, just keep giving me more. This parenting thing is easier the more kids I get. Right. And then number 4, he's like the best behaved one, but it's like, whoa, it totally changed like all the dynamics. So careful, folks. Hey, Carly, thanks for joining in. Thank you. And make sure if you're watching, you joined in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know a little bit about you. And if you have any questions for Rae or myself, please throw it in there as well. And we'll share it out and we'll see if Rae can answer. And Dave's chiming in, letting us know this is his dress rehearsal. He's ready. He's warming up. This guy's on fire 24/7. It seems like he's up early, and he's going into the evening with the stuff he's doing. He's just going full steam ahead. And speaking of that, it's been so cool to see your educational journey just take off in the last like 3 years since I've been following you. I started following you in 2018, and I remember I was super pumped and excited when you followed me back. I was like, what? She followed me back. And your numbers on social media have exploded for good reason. You consistently have amazing content and you're real, and I love that.
That's the goal, right? I feel like everyone should be real. It's way more fun to be authentically yourself, guys. Just try it out.
Yeah.
The people you have participate in the comments are about the most real and authentic, fantastic humans so far. So, Scott, I think that you just attract really great people because you're just an awesome guy. So I'm glad that we're connected for sure.
And I'm with Dave. Rae, you're my hero. You do a lot. I don't even know how you do it all. You and Jeff in particular just go. Like Jeff's on a whole nother level. I don't think there's any catching Jeff Gargas. He's pretty amazing too. And I love the banter between you guys. I don't want to like disregard the other great podcasts out there. And I'm not just saying this because you're on my show, but out of all the podcasts, I love yours the most because of the banter between you two. It's hilarious. It really fills my bucket.
Yeah.
It starts me off with joy. I just haven't been listening as much because of the whole commute or lack of a commute.
Yeah, I get that. I think that I've lacked on my podcast listening because of that. Even just my use of Voxer has changed because I'm not in the car. So
Same.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate the compliment. Jeff Gargis and I really do enjoy that podcast. And obviously, we've been able to do a lot together with, supporting educators along with Chattershowski and everyone else, all 22 other people on the team. So
Right.
So fun. So fun.
And I got to say what's up to my boy, Santiago, another great supporter down in SoCal, great admin down there. Before I get, too just like fanboyish with having you on the show, let's have you kind of walk us through your educational journey. Like, why did you choose education and where did you start?
Gosh, isn't that like always the longest story ever? It's
right?
like the really long story or the short snippet. But honestly, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I myself was a struggling learner and I had an IEP, and I just like wasn't necessarily somebody who was going to pursue a lot after high school, and was fortunate enough to get into college and graduate. And I decided that if I was going to really pursue something, that I wanted to really dive headfirst into it. So I had found that school was really hard. I struggled, even though I had all this support. I grew up in a very affluent community in the Chicagoland area. I mean, I had every support that I hope for all of my students to have, right? Supportive parents, a lot of role models, really great, schools. But school is hard, and, learning is a challenge. I still to this day struggle with a lot of things that I also struggled with when I was in middle school and high school and everything else. And as I was looking into what I enjoyed, I really enjoyed teaching dance. And so dance was kind of a big caveat for me. And then, I decided I just wanted to be a crazy middle school teacher that tried to bring in as much of what I loved about my upbringing, like community and family, as much as possible into school. So I got into teaching. I'm a sixth grade math teacher. I'm actually still a full-time sixth grade math teacher. I just summed up my day with my kids today. We just finished testing in Illinois. So all done, big victory. And I really love being able to work with students by day and teachers by night, now partnered with the Teach Better team. And like you said earlier, I get to be the CMO and co-owner of the Teach Better team with an incredible group of educators that are just living that Teach Better mindset, better today, better tomorrow.
Exactly. And I see that just that it's growing and it's great today. It was great last year.
Yeah.
But it's only getting better. Mm-hmm. Like, just you guys are on a whole nother level. You're not just thinking about tomorrow or the next day or the next school year. You're really envisioning a future, a complete future of teachers teaching better, being present, being empowered to be there for their students and being active learners. And I absolutely love that. I think that's why so many continue to gravitate towards all of your offerings, and they keep growing. Like, who else is doing what you all are doing? Nobody.
But that's what attracted me to the team. When I originally connected with the Teach Better team on Twitter, who at the time was known as the Grid Method, and it was just Jeff and Chad and Michelle, and they were trying to change the world. They really focused on mastery learning. And for me, as a teacher, connecting with just what they were doing at that point in time, for me, it was the missing puzzle piece. I was bringing community and family and partnerships into my classroom, but I really was lacking in understanding how to evaluate standards and how to, use the backwards design to put together rigorous and meaningful dynamic learning opportunities. And so when I partnered with them, I feel like I found kind of the piece I wanted. And as we continue to grow, obviously emphasizing the importance of mastery learning, which is truly at our core, there's so much more than that. Like, just as much as we talk about teaching the whole child, we have to support the whole educator. So regardless of who's listening right now, regardless if you're somebody who needs help in, this area or that area, a lot of what the team continues to do is to create safe spaces for educators to just walk in and feel comfortable being a learner, right? So whether it's reading a blog or popping into our admin mastermind or taking a course or whatever there's so many ways to get involved. It's because we want educators to feel like they have a spot to just be themselves and enjoy a supportive community,
And I think you've done that. I know myself, I've really benefited from the community and being able to throw a question out there and get an answer in real time and fairly quick. And you need that with all of the pivoting and shifting that's happened this year. We need to make these rapid decisions like never before. It's this rapid decision making on like hyper speed. You're going full speed ahead and you really can't even process all the things around you. I think of like Star Trek when they go like warp 9 and they're going and you see all the stars that slowly come up and then whoosh, they're all going past you. Those are like all the decisions we kind of have to make. You really can't take in the sights and sounds so much. And what you all have done is really given teachers tools to be able to empower themselves.
You back with me? Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, it's those decisions that we're making really quick is just the reality of education. What I want to challenge, Teach Better family members, all educators to do is realize that when those decisions need to be made, you don't just have to go to one person, right? Like you mentioned my social media numbers. I'm thrilled to be connected to so many people, but I'm not your only source of brainstorming. Like you need to build an entire community so that when you put out a question, you're not just really hoping Rae Hughart or Dave Schmittou jumps in and saves the day, but like our community is so dedicated to sharing and brainstorming. And I feel like that is how you not only like make an impact, but that's how you start a movement, is allow people to see the benefit, the value, the love that can come from others. It's such an important skill. And it's something teachers, I think, are naturally good at. So why not bring them together?
You're exactly right. We're better together and everybody has something to offer. I think that's another great thing about social media and being part of groups like this. You're able to not only get the help you need, but you can share out your best practices and pro tips. And even if you're not sure, try it out, share it out, see what people say and think. And you never know. That's how I started. And I'm so glad I did, because really I have this bolstered network of friends and family now. Really, I consider many of the people I follow family, because we're so close and so tight, and I can trust them and bond with them and commiserate when I'm feeling low or down. And I can get that information I need when I need it. Kind of switching gears slightly, but still related. How did you link up with Adam Welcome for your book, Teachers Deserve It? I think that's such a great book. And really, I feel like if teachers aren't in the right place, then they're not going to be effective when they're with the students. And so speak to the book a little bit. How did you start? And tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Teachers Deserve It was a incredible project. There's so many things that I feel like I put on my bucket list that I've been able to cross off. And that is definitely something that was on the bucket list. I was actually at a conference in Indiana with Jeff and a few other members of the team. And the keynote was Adam Welcome. And I knew Adam. I had followed him on social media, but I'd never met him. And Jeff had no idea who he was. And I was like, Jeff Gargis, how do not know the Adam Welcome. He's like such a great guy, such a great speaker. He's doing incredible work. Anyway, so I made Jeff like go over and like meet us, like so we could meet Adam, but I didn't want to introduce myself. I needed Jeff to be like, Jeff, go make us friends, like whatever. So anywho, we met him in Indiana. It was great. Long story short, like 6 months later, 9 months later, it was February. So whenever that was, we were at a conference together and he invited me to join him in a group for dinner. And at the time, I was like, well, that's the nicest compliment ever. Like I would totally go to dinner with Adam. And long story short, because of so many reasons, school let out late. I mean, all the reasons, I was 2 hours late to this conference and 2 hours late to dinner. And he did not let me forget it because they waited. They did not order. They like sat and waited for me, which I felt awful. I was like, this is the worst impression. It was traffic. I was like, oh my God. And it was that night over a wonderful meal and great red wine that, you know, he kind of pitched this idea. He was like, he had written Kids Deserve It already. He's like, I want to write Teachers Deserve It. I think that we could do it together. And at the time I was like, how many teachers you're asking, huh? Like you getting like a bunch of co-authors? And he's like, no, I want to do it with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the nicest compliment. But I said, no, I have no interest. Yeah, I have no interest in writing a book where people just talk about all the things teachers deserve. Because the reality is like, we're going to hate on admin. We're going to hate on parents. We're going to hate on students. Because, you know, like sometimes teachers get treated like dirt and teachers deserve not to. He was like, no, Rae, we're going to not write a book that's all complaining. We're actually going to write a book that like makes an impact. And Teachers Deserve It kind of was brainstormed for the next 9 months until we were able to finally, you know, pitch it and get it out. We were so thankful that DBC was able to publish that book as well as obviously my first. And it really is a book that is so strategically designed that every single chapter is a massive proclamation, right? Teachers deserve. And then you could literally insert anything. There's so many things teachers deserve, but every chapter is designed where we explain why teachers deserve these things and then how you don't really get any of those things without taking action for yourself. Teachers have to be an advocate for the things they want. And so the majority of the book is actually a brainstorming, solution-seeking dialogue discussing, hey, you want to be respected? Well, here's 5 things you can go do right now to continue to send that message. You know, you want smaller class sizes? Okay, here's the long term of how we get there, but here's short-term steps that we can be doing right this moment to make it happen. So it was incredible to work with Adam on it. I was so nervous to co-author anything with him, but we had a blast. I have nothing but incredible things to say about Adam.
Wow. You know what's so cool about that is just you guys are far apart geographically, yet you came together, right, to do this. What was like your app of choice when you were corresponding? Was it email, Voxer? What'd you all use?
Guys, we wrote this book on planes in a Google Doc. Literally how we did it. I'll tell you the method, okay? We hopped on a call and we brainstormed chapter titles. We literally brainstormed like 47 things teachers deserve. And then one by one, we're like, I'm going to try and draft up this chapter. And we like draft it up. And Adam will tell you, like, he was traveling so much that year. Right. I had started traveling so much for Teach Better. And I wrote that book either on a plane or sitting at Starbucks on weekends. And then we would draft up the chapter and switch. And so the book actually had originally like 45 chapters. And then we put them together to kind of get the final product. So it was really fun.
I love hearing about the process too. Wow. That's so cool. That's how, well, I guess not exactly. It's still unique, but I find that a lot of authors, when they share with me how they've come up with their books, is they've kind of templated it or kind of outlined it, and then it's kind of grown organically from that process, right? It starts with the ideas, then you start adding to the ideas, and then it really kind of takes on a life of its own. And That's so cool. I'm a little jealous that you've had so much time with Adam conversing and emailing and chatting. And he only lives like 70 miles from me.
Oh,
So
great.
I'm like 70 miles east. So I need to reach out and grab some coffee with him when things are better.
Yeah, I think I've only seen him in person 3 times because I met him in Indiana the first time I met him. I met him at in Illinois conference where we had dinner. And then I met him and then the Teach Better conference. He was one of our keynotes. And then I don't think I've seen him outside of those 3 times.
Talk about the power of the PLN. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think the important part of this is like we're able to put in stories to every chapter, which is fun. So you kind of get to read about Adam's life, get to read about my life. We have these incredible like vignettes of educators. Like this is Michael Jennings in Idaho, like incredible educators that like share their story, which I feel like adds a whole nother layer of the beauty of teachers. And then, like I said, we have challenges at every chapter. So if you're up for a challenge, it's a good book.
Go for it. So I'm going to pause. What was that?
I'm a little biased, but I think it's a good book.
No, it's great. And honestly, if it wasn't great, I don't think DBC would be publishing it. I really like everything that they put out. Huge DBC fanboy. I did try to buy like everything at one point that they had out. And then the bookshelf got beyond full. So I need to kind of read some stuff and donate some books before I can start adding to try and keep up.
I feel like I'm constantly like reading books. I just had CJ Reynolds' book is like literally right here. I literally told somebody, I was like, have you read it yet? I'll bring it for you tomorrow. Like people are constantly, you got to trade books. It's like
that's one I got to do too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Also goes by Rap Reynolds, right?
A real rap with Reynolds.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. With CJ, I mean, literally, if you can see that bookshelf, it's all like the classics, like the ones that without doubt, if you're in education, you need to read. CJ is a great example of one. It's really good.
And quick shout out to the audience. We have my friend Lisa in there. So grateful for collaboration and friendships in Twitter. I totally agree. Susan saying Rae's amazing. Of course. Yeah. Have to have her on the show. And Joni's joining us all the way from Indonesia. She says hi. And she actually has a question. She loves writing, but sometimes it's hard for her to connect ideas. Any suggestions?
You know, I think I have an unpopular opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But in this day and age, I don't think anybody should set out to write a book. I think that like there are so many negatives that I can think of with books. And I know I say that I hope to write another. I don't hate books, but like this is now a stagnant product. It's now something that can't be changed, can't be manipulated. And there are some Twitter things on here that use a hashtag that can kind of like connect you to other readers. But if you want to write a book, it really is like one thing you could do. I really want to encourage everybody, if you love writing, start a blog, start a podcast, allow yourself to, do something creative to share your message, go live, just like you, Scott, go live and share your ideas. Because while books are incredible ways to deliver information, there's so many ways to deliver information now that I think one of my best recommendations for anybody who's aspiring to write a book is to tell you to go blog. Because then in theory, if you're blogging about your passions, hopefully at some point you can kind of pick and choose your favorite blogs. And when you put them together, then all you're doing is writing transitions of how ideas blend together, which is then kind of like the magic hopefully the author can bring. So there's so many ways to share information. There's so many ways to, have people connect with your passion. Choose one and just get started.
I agree. And I think blog writing is the way to go. I know a lot of authors like Matt Miller started with his blog writing and then it turned into a book. I could be wrong. So somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe Jennifer Gonzalez started that way, started doing blogs and then the podcast and then her book. I think that's a tried and true way to go. And then it's always there and going. Like you're saying, books right now, they do become stagnant quite quickly. Whereas if you're blogging, hey, you're continuing that conversation and that relationship with your readers.
Well, and you mean Teach Better, which was my first book I was able to co-author with Tiffany Ott, Chad Ostrowski, and Jeff Gargas, was our collection of blogs. We were blogging for teachbetter.com. And when we were blogging, we just kind of put together a bunch of ideas and changed some titles and threw in some personal stories, because we all got into education for different reasons and in different avenues. And we created a book that, DBC published. So again, books are wonderful. I encourage you guys to consume and consume and consume, but there's so many great opportunities for people to share their passion.
Yes. And I threw Joni's question up on the board there. The audience can find your book on Amazon, dbcinc.com, and
Barnes and Noble, really anywhere.
Yeah. So anywhere where kind of teacher books are there. And you ready, Rae? I think it might be a great time to give away a copy of your book, Teachers Deserve It.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
You guys want this specific copy? I don't know. I don't have any notes in this one. Sometimes I write in them and I'm like, oh, don't send. You ever think about that? I'm like, if I wrote in it, I won't send you the one that has all my chicken scratch in it.
Okay. So pick a number between 1 and 7.
Done. 3 is my favorite number.
3. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Lisa, you are the winner. So I know Lisa knows how to get a hold of me. Go ahead, slide in my DMs, and I'll share that with Rae. You just won yourself a copy of Rae's book. So super exciting. Yeah, right there. Teachers deserve it. And speaking of Lisa, she says, great suggestion. Any suggestions on how to get people to visit your blog? This is great. I'm curious to what you have to say, then I might add on to it.
Yeah, there's so many different ways. Lisa, I think that there's kind of 2 avenues I would suggest. One is to grow your personal brand, which really is just like continuously connecting with people. When you provide value to people, they want to explore and engage with you further. So if you have a blog, make sure it's linked on your Twitter profile or wherever social media you enjoy most. And when you share, make sure you're trying to help so much. You should always be sharing in the lens of helping. And then as people see that, oh my gosh, Lisa has so many ideas. I love that she's always been so helpful. I wonder if she has other resources. Then they're going to visit your profile. They're going to click on your website and they're going to see your blogs right there. And then, it's always good to encourage people to bookmark and visit back and encourage them to say like, oh, I like to blog every Monday. So set an alarm to come back every Monday. Those are really good things. The other thing outside of growing your own personal brand, which by the way, Lisa, if you ever want to like talk shop, hit me up. We can brainstorm. I love that doing that work with educators, is blogging for outside like resources. So
yes,
there's so many teacher blogs out there, whether it, be something like Edutopia, or I love Tech and Learning is a great group to blog for. I know that I can hook you up with blogging for teachbetter.com. But the more you can blog with outside areas, then people will connect with you and then see what other content you have. So again, always trying to add value to as many networks as possible.
I think that's amazing. You mentioned a lot of things. I just want to double down on consistency. I've heard that time and time again. I can relate in terms of the podcast, consistency, having that day. And I'll be honest, that kind of went out the window with 2020, 2021 for me. I'm trying, that's still the goal, and building things out. So the new goal is, okay, summer, I have this chunk of time I can kind of get ahead and kind of block out some things and plan my schedule. And I feel like, okay, I'm finally going from what's literally in front of me and problem solving to looking at challenges and things I need to take care of, in the long term professionally. And so I'm really excited. I have a big project working on. Hopefully it'll be ready for the summer. So it's on the DL right now. So stay tuned for that. I've been busy behind the scenes working on that, burning the midnight oil. So stay tuned for that as well. But I wanted to add in terms of blogging, and even podcasting, if you want to drive traffic to your work, everything Rae said is going to help. I also want to double down on writing and participating in other people's works. And then on your blog, write a blog article about that experience. So that effect is called like backlinking. I could be saying it wrong, but having these backlinks, that way everything's kind of interconnected. It helps what's known as your domain authority when somebody does something like a Google search. So that really helps. So check that out. You can also check out your domain authority. Just Google search it. You'll have some different options and different sites that'll let you know what it is. The higher the number, the better. So let's say you're on YouTube, for example, it has a domain authority of 100, which is the highest score. So it's highly reputable and Google likes it. So any kind of YouTube thing is going to go towards the top. So if you're on a live podcast like this, that's streaming to YouTube, double check, make sure the podcaster promoter is putting links to your blog in there so that you're getting those backlinks. And the more you have, that's going to help drive your traffic. So attaching to kind of these premier educators and premier websites is really going to help as well. And then just do as many as you can. Don't overload yourself, but just go and get out there and don't be afraid. Had I not been brave enough to reach out to Rae, right, this wouldn't be happening. I had to take a chance. So get out there, take a chance, and you never know what's going to happen. Good things will happen.
And if you're doing it for the right reasons, you are going to see really great long-term success. Like there's so many things that you could go do right now that are all the best tips, but that consistency piece that you said, Scott, is enormous. I mean, geez, Carrie, who runs our blog department at Teach Better, she's on overload. I think that we publish like at least 2 blogs a day over there, which is ridiculous. We have like over 60 posts coming out this month. But when you're looking at like what content is being shared, you can also look at, if you're blogging for other people, the types of supports they might give their authors to be successful. So like if you blog for Teach Better, we have like an editing team that helps you kind of finalize your blog, like those finishing touches. So there's so many different avenues out there, but you have to make sure you're doing everything with the hope of just trying to help and share and support. And that's, I think, how people really authentically really buy into what you're doing.
Right. And I want to double down on that too. Get a mentor, work under somebody. It's not all about, like money. Like I wouldn't necessarily blog for money, blog because it brings you joy and you're passionate about it. Otherwise, it's not really worth it.
Yeah, if you're not a blogger, don't blog. Like, I think that that's like a common misconception. Like, I am not a writer. I mean, I have written and I am capable, but that's not actually the way that I like to share information. And it's not my way that I like to consume at all. So if you're somebody who's going to struggle, like sitting down and typing a blog, then do a podcast or audio record it and then, have it just, goes from speech to text or, things like that. Like find the way that's easy for you, because if you're looking to share, then the medium is actually secondary.
Yeah, I would agree. That's why I've started with podcasting. Yeah. I'm more comfortable with it. And now I'm venturing out with live video and working on some other things. So I will be writing some more. That is one of my goals. So stay tuned. I'm kind of building up. That was something I learned with the podcast, with launching a podcast or launching any kind of new project. If you have a body of work, it really does help. And that can help you get a leg up. So when things like a new baby comes along, whether it be a human baby or a fur baby, right? They require a lot of work. That way you can roll with the punches and stay consistent, because that's huge. People start to rely on your message, and they look in their inbox and in their social media and on their feeds and their downloads on their podcast player of choice for your content. And that's what you really, really want. That way you can continue to grow your audience. I actually want to back up a little bit. I'm curious what your side of the story is in terms of how you linked up with Teach Better. So I've had Jeff Gargis on the show, heard his side. I want to know what the true story is. What's the Rae Hughart version?
Oh, goodness. It's probably just like a more accurate version what Jeff told. Jeff probably got some details wrong, knowing Jeff. No, you know, I didn't really like social media. I wasn't on social media. And my last semester when I was getting my master's degree, I was a course short of graduating somehow, because I was like, what? I'm in the midst of writing a thesis, and I'm not going to graduate in the time that I had in my mind. So I literally logged on and signed up for the first class I could to get me the credit so I could still graduate on time. And when I walked into this course, the first thing I had to do was make a Twitter profile. And I was like, ugh. I begrudgingly made a Twitter profile and was like, fine, I'll play the game of school to be done.
Right.
And we had a homework assignment where we had to be active on social media once a week. I was like, I don't know what that means. So I scrolled like the best of them, right? Did the scrolling on Twitter, and I was like, I don't really get this whole thing. And I ended up coming across hashtag TLAP. And I was like, TLAP, I don't know what that is. And I ended up Googling hashtag TLAP. And I was like, oh, it's that book I read, Teach Like a Pirate. So I hopped into that chat a few times, and Dave Burgess reached out and asked if I would host, which I was flabbergasted, because I think Dave Burgess is like the coolest thing since sliced bread. So I was all about fangirling when he DM'd me. And I had no business hosting a Twitter chat. I knew nothing about a Twitter. I had to Google what a hashtag was. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. And so I was so flattered. But when I was hosting the chat, I got a direct message from a group called the Grid Method, which we later rebranded as Teach Better Team. And it was the social media assistant at the time kind of sent me a message saying, hey, Rae, it looks like you're doing really good work. And when I responded, which I think it was just like okay, thanks, like appreciate the contact, it showed up on Jeff Gargis's phone, because he obviously was logged into the team Twitter. And I, on a whim, I have no idea why, but he continued the conversation. He asked if we could meet up, and I responded nicely back saying, no, I don't have any money, so don't try and sell me anything. I'm not a customer. I'm like, I'm a second-year teacher. I know nothing. And no, it turns out, ended up forming a beautiful friendship. And, you know, I was able to join the team. So it's been a whirlwind watching this startup kind of like build a family. It's amazing.
Yeah. Speak to that a little bit more, because you all are like family. I've experienced that with my PLN. What's that been like for you?
Having a PLN that's a family?
Yeah. You and Jeff and Tiffany and Chad are also close. And of course, you know, the newer members to Teach Better. What's that like? I was trying to ask my son. So for example, we just connected with some of my PLN and had dinner and hung out with their families, and it was great. It was awesome. And I said, you know, what's it like? And he was like, well, it's like any other relationship. You know, it was very just subtle and to the point. And I thought, yeah, you know, it's like that. It was very natural, I guess. You know, he's a digital native, so this whole digital thing is not new to him. He's grown up with it. But typically I would think like, oh, you know, it's kind of strange. Like you, I stayed away from Twitter, and I only joined Twitter because Schoology at their Schoology Next conference kind of made you do it. If you wanted to win a prize, you had to tweet things out. So begrudgingly, I did it. And then I had such a good time and was encouraged to do so that I kept going. And I'm so grateful for that experience. And there's many people like Claudio Zavala, Ginny Long, Celie Clark, Jamie Donnelly, and Tisha Poncio. Like, they're really like family for me. There's such a closeness, and I could go on and on. What's that been like to just extend, that kind of like stereotypical natural family to include the Teach Better team?
Yeah, when COVID hit in March of 2020, a lot of educators struggled thinking about forming relationships with students virtually. And it was really interesting because at the time, the Teach Better team had decided to go live every day, Monday through Friday, for a daily drop-in. And all these people were watching every morning and saying, help, 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 help. Let's brainstorm. How in the world are we going to form relationships with our students virtually? We'll never be able to do it. And the comical part is that we were able to, in kind of a simplistic way, is turn the conversation around to say, well, we're all family. We all have only been virtual. The Teach Better team has only existed virtually. When I partnered with the Teach Better team, Jeff and Chad were living in Ohio and Michelle was in Michigan. And that was kind of it. And now we have over 22 team members that are located across North America. We have, 67 ambassadors located all around the world internationally. We have, speakers network that are, all across the US. We have mastermind participants who are, international. And, it's kind of comical because I think when you look at those groups, if you were to ask any one of those group members, right, you pop into like a Tuesday morning mastermind that Dave Schmittou does an incredible job facilitating, or you like pop into an exclusive ambassador event, or you catch the team during, we like hang out one Friday a month where we like all get together on a Zoom call and talk shop. And I think that they really believe that they're family, and that's exactly what we want. And so, yeah, was it weird the first time I ever met Jeff Gargis in person? Actually, it was the second one I met. I met Chad first in person. Met him at a workshop. We had been connected already for 6 months before I met him in person. But the majority of our team, I've never met. I mean, literally, and you're not going to believe me when I say this, but we had a day set aside, March 14th. We were bringing together every single member of the Teach Better team, 22 of us. We're flying everybody into Chicago, and we were going to take photos. I planned a scavenger hunt. It was going to be great. And it was of 2020. The whole world shut down, and we canceled the trip. And it's like funny because when you think about that, like, thank goodness we didn't fly everybody in. Thank goodness everybody's home. But I'm live with Dave Schmittou once a week at least, and I've never met him. I've never met the guy. He's amazing. I take a bullet for him. But like meeting him is almost like a non-essential because these people are family regardless of if I've seen them in person or not. And I think that it's not only such a wonderful opportunity we have here, but it's also a really great opportunity we have to reflect on our own classrooms in that capacity.
I think you're right. I want to pause for a moment on that point you made, that to be family, you don't even need to meet in person.
No.
It's about that connection, and whether you have it in person or have it digitally or, via some other form of communication, the feelings that you feel for that person are legitimate and real. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. You talked about taking a bullet for Dave, great guy to take a bullet for. And yeah, I feel that way with so many in my PLN that I've never even come across face to face. And we've only connected digitally. Sometimes they're not that far physically, distance wise. Maybe they're in my state, but I've still never seen them. Like I think about somebody like my buddy Santiago, who's joining us. He's over in Southern California, probably 6-7 hours away. We've never connected, but I just texted him yesterday and we're chatting, and, just being so real with him. Definitely somebody I feel like is family.
Yeah, and family has so many different definitions, but even just as we look at blood family, I mean, I consider myself extremely close to my sister. We're 5 years apart. She's an absolute genius. She's an inspiration. She's gorgeous. I mean, whatever. But she's lived in Scotland for 5 years. I only see her twice a year. It doesn't change the fact that I care about her. We talk all the time. We are committed to ensuring we have a positive relationship. But I mean, I talk to her maybe once a month or so, and I talk to Jeff Gargas every morning. So it's kind of like, at that capacity, like everyone's family. Joe Gonzalez is family. Joe's been family for a long time.
Shout out to Joe. Yeah. Kind of jealous that you get all these emails, Voxers, and Zooms with Rae. I need to do better.
Let's Vox. I'm so bad. Joe, though, is so patient. Scott, let me tell you, I am awful on Voxer, but I love it because you're just talking. I love being able to hear people's voices and like inflection, and I hate reading text. And so Joe will literally Vox me, and like 6 days later, I'm like, Joe, it's so good to hear from you. And every time he's just like, good job, Rae. You logged into Voxer today. Nice job.
Oh, that's hilarious. I can relate. Sometimes it's that way. I know when I'm chatting with Jeff Gargas on a Voxer, it's usually like that, 4 to 5 days, we'll get back to each other. It's this really elongated conversation, but it's still great. And I still love it. One last piece about family. I do have some legitimate family that's overseas, like your sister. I've just, I hadn't met them. We had only connected via telephone, and that was it. And maybe, sending like a Christmas card kind of thing. And we'd get pictures, every few years, and send our own pictures every few years. And then when we finally did meet up, it was just the most heartwarming experience. It was really like supernatural, for lack of a better word. It was just, words fall short with an experience like that. And I think when you and I and Jeff finally connect face to face, I'm gonna have all those feels too. So I'm ready and waiting.
I vividly remember the first time I met Joshua Stamper, who runs our podcast network on the team, to the point that he had walked in, great guy, but literally he walked in and I just screamed his name. I was like, oh, you're Joshua Stamper. I'm like, we've been friends for so long, and this is you in person. And he had this moment where he was like, that was a very aggressive first impression. I'm like, yeah, but we know each other. It's fine.
No, I think it's so cool that you're connected to him too.
But he's been on the team for great work.
He's great. He's so great. And I love what he's doing. He's got a book coming out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. He's doing a great book on leadership. You guys should all go subscribe and listen to his Aspire podcast. Joshua Stamper is an incredible person, and he has so many characteristics that I am working to be better in, and that I honestly connect with him because he makes me better every time I talk to that guy. He is an incredible human being. No,
he absolutely is. And I love, he has like this charisma that comes through, and like this gentleness, but yet like such strength and leadership all rolled in one. He really kind of does it all. It seems like, I believe he's still a middle school principal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
he's an assistant principal in Texas and doing incredible work. And he has an incredible family. I mean, truly, that guy, you want to talk about somebody who hustles, that guy.
Right. I need to hit him up because I think he may have one more than me in terms of kids. So I could be wrong. He's either at 4 or 5. So I need to hit him up. But
I feel like every time I talk to him, the number's bigger. I feel like he's at like 9 or 10. That's like every time
the more the merrier.
I was like, did you pick up 3 more kids this week? He's like, yeah. I'm like, nice job, buddy. And did you, serve an entire staff, school building today? Oh, yeah. Good. Okay.
I want to give a shout out to our buddy from our EduPodcasters group, Eric Guy. So guys, Thanks for jumping in, bud. Appreciate you. Also has the Got Tech podcast for all the people tuning in. Hey, I think it's time for another book giveaway.
Let's do it. Teach better.
This time, teach better. So I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and 10.
Can I pick 3 again? Am I allowed?
No, you pick. I thought you picked. Oh, you picked 3 last time, huh?
Well, I can pick 3 this time regardless.
Yeah, you could do it because we took Lisa out. So, Stephanie, you have just won yourself a copy of
Teach Better.
Teach Better. And I had it open to this page. Let's see, page 71. One of my favorite spots. If you want some tips on how to engage on social media and just engage better, chapter 4, check out Rae's section there on page 71. So I'm going to write that down real quick.
There you go. Yeah. So fun. I'm really eager, guys. If you are snagging the book, like I'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, I like we kind of discussed, like books are wonderful to consume, but you also need to choose to engage with them. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and your reflections, any challenges you choose to take on. And hi, Jillian. I love Jillian. What an incredible
she's so great.
I love her.
Yeah, we're in a push-up group, although I'm really behind. I hurt my shoulders here. I don't know what happened, but I did like 10,000 push-ups in a month and a half. That's not the way to do it, by the way.
No, definitely not.
I literally like burned out my shoulders. So when I do them now, it's so painful. But she has the greatest Flipgrid video that's so encouraging and inspiring. And she's shouting you out. Loves you even more. Yeah, Jill.
Teach Better ambassador. Rock on, Jillian. Love it.
Yes.
And so is Joe and everybody else. Like, sorry, I know I didn't even mention all that, but so fun.
Yeah. How does one become a Teach Better ambassador? What's the process?
It's a really easy process. We open up applications once or twice a year, and you just get to apply. And, you know, there's a few things that we'd like to, you know, like for our ambassadors to have accomplished, but they're all really easy. Like, have you read a blog at teachbetter.com? Have you ever tuned into a live? Have you ever participated in our Thursday night Twitter chats? I mean, there's so many things that the Teach Better does every single week that, to the extent that we actually had to make an events calendar that we could share with people, because we are live almost 7 days a week and we have something going on 7 days a week for our community. So ambassadors, anyway, we just kind of ask them to throw in their ideas and their thoughts. And then we are able to select a bunch. And there's an incredible mentorship program that I love about our ambassador program. So I'm really excited for how that's developed. And that's a huge shout out to Megan, Deegan, and Andrea, who are just doing, holy cow, incredible work on the team, building up that ambassador program.
Having benefited from the mentorship of you and Jeff specifically, I can attest to that too. Just, wow. Again, you know, the way y'all operate, just it's on a whole nother level. Like just the vision, it amazes me. I don't know how you do it. I know it's part skill, part gift, but it's like the complete package. And I'm so blessed to know both of you and just to kind of be somewhere in that journey and just kind of witness that and learn and grow alongside of you too. It's been really neat.
And I have to emphasize, like, I am so appreciative of the vision that Chad and Jeff had when they, you know, launched this incredible group. And I'm so honored to be a part of it and, you know, be a part of the building of this team. But we absolutely do not do it alone. There are so many people that are making this possible. I mean, truly, that like I love getting credit for how great the Teach Better team is doing, but sometimes I look and I'm like, I wasn't even involved in the project that you love. Like, there's so many different people. We have incredible team leads that run departments of the Teach Better team that, like, I get lucky enough for someone to be like, hey, I really love that blog series you guys publish, or, oh, wow, I saw that you added, you know, this podcast to your podcast network. Congrats. And I'm like, I had no part in that. That was all Carrie, or Josh or Hans or Dave, there's so many incredible people. So as our listeners now, all of you, like every single educator, I believe is growing something. And so as you look at how your passions are developing, and if you have aspirations to have them develop into something just beyond just sharing your passions with others, building a team has been an incredible way to ensure that community stays strong. I mean, I don't know. I just think that that's a huge piece to emphasize because, I'm a teacher working my tush off like everybody else. And, you get so much farther when you build just really good people around you. I'm very fortunate.
Hey, shout out to Kara to joining us from the other end of the country. Well, she's closer to you. She's on the East Coast. Nice. So we got some East meets West over here. As we kind of close, what's one just general kind of piece of advice for educators right now if they want to continue to thrive in 2021 and finish the school year strong and just really ramp up and be ready for fall of 2021? How should they do that?
Holy cow. There's so many things I could recommend, right? Here's the best tech tool, or here's the best resource, or here's the best mindset or podcast to go listen to. I think for me, so I just had my second shoulder surgery. My first shoulder surgery was in the summer of 2019. And I was like really nervous. I mean, I'm just like horrible around doctors. Like I really believe that if I need to go to the doctor, like someone's got to knock me out. Like, it would go more smoothly. Right. So the doctor comes in before the surgery with this big needle. It was like as big as the room. It was the biggest needle any of you have ever seen. Trust me, I was there. Okay. It was massive. And I looked at him and I was like, you don't want to come near me with that. I won't handle that well. And he like looked at me with this like kind of swagger tone. He was like, Rae, I've had people in worse positions than you with worse problems than you. I gotcha. No stress. And I feel like that mentality is my best advice for anyone right now. Like every single human being, every single educator is struggling with a different problem in a different community, in a different content area. And all of us could very easily sit back and be like, ugh, like there's no hope for us here, right? But the truth is that if you choose to be connected, choose to surround yourself with good people, which is kind of what we talked about all hour long, like I can promise you that I will find and help you find a solution. I may not know it. I may have to connect you with Jillian or connect you with Eric or connect you with anybody who's jumped in here today. But like, if you surround yourself with people that are solution seeking and positive, we got you. We can figure anything out. So my best advice is to join a community, whether it be Teach Better or a different one, join a community that wants to see you be successful, because your success doesn't take away from mine. My success is from yours. Like, let's just like change the world together and then we'll both end up on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And celebrate together too. I absolutely love that. I remember just like jumping for joy when you shared out the TNT EdTech podcast as one of the top podcasts in your blog. I was like, wow, Matthew, here you go. I think it was early in the morning. I said, you got to look at this before we go to work.
So fun. I mean, but that's the best part. Like, it's not about what content I'm working on, but how can I help somebody else connect with value? Like the work you're doing is so good. It would be foolish for me not to celebrate the work you're doing or, encourage people to go tune in and listen. I mean, life's all about putting the right things into your recipe book. So, whether it's your podcast and somebody else's book or anything in between, go find whatever you need, because everybody can grow from it.
I absolutely love that. And as we close, I want to make sure everyone's following you on social media at Rae Hughart and following the Teach Better team. And also, right now, once you leave this broadcast, go check out #Mastery Chat and chat it on up with the Teach Better team and myself on Twitter.
Yeah, we have a good host tonight, and hopefully we'll see you all tune in for the 12-hour live we have on the 24th.
Yes, tune in for that too. I'll be in the comments. Thank you, Rae.
Thanks, guys.